Welcome to Whisper at 3 a.m., where stories are only meant to be heard after midnight. Here, we share chilling experiences, untold secrets, and whispers that only come when the clock strikes 3. If you enjoy horror stories in the style of Reddit No Sleep, don't forget to like, subscribe, share to spread the fear, and comment if you're brave enough to share a story of your own. Now, turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and prepare to step into the dark. Always act as if somebody is watching you. I used to think it was just a phrase. Always act as if someone is watching. Something parents say to keep kids from picking their nose in public, or what HR writes in training manuals. But I've learned something since. It's not just a saying, it's a rule, and breaking it has consequences. It started at my office. Typical open floor plan hellscape. Rows of desks, fluorescent lights, the smell of burnt coffee and printer toner. We had security cameras, sure, but I never paid much attention. Just white domes on the ceiling, blinking silently. Then one day, our IT guy, Marcus, went missing. No explanation, no warning. He was just gone. People whispered, of course, said he got caught stealing, said he was fired, but his stuff was still at his desk. Half-finished lunch in the fridge, jacket on the back of the chair. It was like he'd gotten up for a bathroom break and never came back. A week later, I stayed late, trying to finish a report. Everyone else was gone. The office was too quiet, too still. I went to the break room to stretch, grabbed a soda, looked up at the camera above the vending machine. Just habit, but the red light wasn't blinking. It was glowing, steady, like it was watching. I waved at it, felt stupid, but it blinked once, then stopped. Back at my desk, I noticed something on my monitor. Not an alert, not an email, just a sticky note, yellow. Blank, except for one sentence. Always act as if somebody is watching. I didn't write it. No one else had been there. I checked the security feed from earlier. Marcus's login was still active from today. That night, I dreamed of cameras, thousands of them, all pointed at me. And in the center of the room, a chair, strapped to it, Marcus, eyes open, mouth stitched shut, trying to scream through the silence. The next day, I asked the manager about Marcus. She frowned, said, "Who's Marcus?" Then smiled. Too wide, too still. I checked the employee directory. No Marcus, no record, but I found something else. A new employee profile. No photo, no name, just a string of numbers. 000. I started noticing other things. Cameras moving slightly when I passed, emails sent with no sender, meetings scheduled in empty rooms, sticky notes appearing on my desk. Smile, stand up straight, fix your collar. They're watching. One night, I tested it, walked past a camera with my hoodie up, head down, deliberately ignored it, felt a click behind me, turned around, nothing. But when I got home, my door was ajar. Inside, a package, unmarked. Inside the box, a photograph of me. From that night, from behind. Even though no one had been there, even though I hadn't heard a sound. I tried quitting, sent a resignation email, turned in my badge, didn't go back. But the next day, my phone buzzed. New calendar invite. Observation review 9 a.m. from my own email. I went in just to see. The building looked different, dimmer. People moved strangely, too slow, too smooth. I reached my desk. There was no chair, just a small placard. Subject number 27 active. I ran to the elevator, tried the stairs. Doors locked, all of them. A voice came over the intercom, neutral, female. Non-compliance detected, recalibrating environment. The walls shifted. Literally, my cubicle folded in on itself, formed into a corridor, lights above flickered. I followed the path, had no choice. At the end, a single camera, large, cyclopean red lens glowing, and beneath it, another chair, empty, waiting. The voice returned. Begin performance. I didn't understand. Then a screen lit up, showing me, sitting, typing, smiling, acting, being watched. I mimicked it, sat down, typed nonsense, smiled at nothing. The camera blinked. The door reopened. Since then, I haven't stopped. At home, I wave at corners, smile when I enter rooms, say thank you to nothing, because when I don't, the messages return, more personal now, on my mirror, on receipts, on my skin, in ink that fades by morning. They see you, do better. I don't know who they are, I don't know what they want, but I know the rules. And I know what happened to Marcus. Last night, I covered my webcam, just to see. 1 minute later, my phone buzzed, new message. Unknown number. Don't. Then the lights went out. Not just in my house, the whole block. I removed the cover. Everything came back. Lights. power, calm. The next morning, a new sticky note on my bathroom mirror. Good boy. I'm not writing this for attention. I'm writing it because you might be next. Because every camera you see might not be a camera, might be I. Because every device you carry might not be yours, might be theirs. So if you feel watched, you are. If you think the reflection blinked, it did. If you see a note that says smile, you better. And above all, always act as if somebody is watching you. Because they are. The soul game. They say it's just a story, a challenge whispered on forums and subreddits, a ritual you play alone, but I've played it and I know the truth. The soul game is real, and once you begin, it doesn't end. It starts with a mirror. A mirror. Not just any mirror, one older than you, older than the house it's in. I found mine in my grandmother's attic. Or maybe it found me. Tall, dusty, covered in a sheet that felt more like skin than fabric. Underneath, an ornate frame, black and silver. The glass didn't reflect much until I blinked. Then it showed me, but wrong, slightly delayed, like my soul was lagging behind. I didn't mean to play the game. I was just curious. But the moment I said the words jokingly, carelessly, I offer my soul to play, the air changed. The lights dimmed, though it was noon, and my reflection smiled before I did. The rules appeared in red, bleeding letters across the glass. 1. The game has begun. 2. There will be 3 challenges. 3. Complete them and reclaim your soul. 4. Fail and remain on the other side. 5. You may not stop once you begin. 6. Do not look away from the mirror. I laughed. Then the reflection winked, and the first challenge began. The mirror fogged over. When it cleared, I wasn't looking at myself anymore. I was seeing my room through someone else's eyes. The perspective moved, slow, deliberate, toward my bedroom, toward the bed, toward me. Except I wasn't in bed. I was standing there, watching, but the reflection showed me sleeping. The challenge was simple. Wake up before it reaches you. I bolted upstairs, empty, no movement, no intruder. I checked the mirror again. The reflection was still walking. Closer now, down the hallway. I screamed at it. Stop! It didn't. I raced back upstairs. This time, the bedroom door was open, and I was in the bed, sleeping, even though I was awake. The reflection stepped into the room, raised its hands, and I felt fingers on my throat. I couldn't breathe. Everything blurred until I grabbed the mirror frame and shouted, "Challenge 1 complete." The glass shattered, then reformed. Challenge 2. Show us what you've hidden. The mirror turned black. The mirror turned black, then bright. Then it showed me one I'd buried 6 years ago. A girl, Elena, my ex. The accident. But in the mirror, it wasn't an accident. It was me behind the wheel, drunk, laughing, turning the music up, not stopping when she screamed. No, I whispered, but the mirror didn't lie. And then I saw her, standing behind me in the reflection, blood down her chin, neck bent, eyes hollow. She reached for me, whispered, "Why did you leave me there?" I collapsed, begged for forgiveness, cried until the mirror softened, until the blood faded, until she was gone. Challenge 2 complete. I should have stopped, should have walked away, but I needed closure, needed to finish. Challenge 3. The mirror went dark, then lit with fire, a circle of flame, and a shadow inside it. A shape like me, but taller, bonier, smiling with too many teeth. It spoke without moving. Trade places. Let me wear your face, you take mine. But the mirror melted, and suddenly I was inside, looking out, seeing myself from the other side, and it was in my body, turning, walking away, smiling. I screamed, banged the glass, no use. The rules said not to look away, but I had, even for a second. Now I was trapped. But then a loophole, a detail, 3 challenges. But it never said who had to complete them, so I spoke, softly, desperately. I offer your soul to play. The reflection froze, turned, and the mirror reset. Rules appeared again, and my double, was pulled back, screaming as the first challenge began for him. I woke up on the floor, bloody, breathless, the mirror shattered. But in the shards, I still see it. Him, stuck, watching me, waiting. The soul game never ends. You just take someone's place, or someone takes yours. So if you find an old mirror and it feels heavier than it should, don't speak, don't stare, don't play. Because if you do, you might win, but something else will walk away wearing your face. We used to play this game called Ditch or Die, not anymore. Back in middle school, we used to play this game called Ditch or Die. It was simple, at least that's what we thought. You played in a group, someone was it, we called them the Reaper. Everyone else had to hide, but not just hide. You had to ditch your location every 5 minutes or the Reaper would find you. If the Reaper caught you before you moved, or if you stayed too long, you were out. Dead. The last one remaining got to be Reaper next round. We played it in the woods behind our neighborhood. Big place. Lots of thick trees, shallow dips, old storm drains, perfect for hiding, perfect for running. There were 6 of us that summer. Me, Tyler, Jess, Marco, Liv, and Daniel. We played every Friday night, phones off, flashlights only, no rules except one. If you hear someone breathing, move. It was Jess who made that rule. Said she heard breathing once, soft and close, but nobody was near her. We laughed it off, thought she was trying to psych us out, but we followed it anyway, added it to the game. Breathing means go. It was fun at first, until the night Daniel disappeared. We were deep in the woods, no moon, thick fog, Jess was Reaper. We scattered. I hid behind an old culvert, pressed into the mud, waited. 5 minutes passed, I moved, no sign of anyone. Then I heard it. Breathing. Right behind me. Not loud, not raspy. Just wrong. Too steady, too long. I bolted, didn't look back. Daniel never came back. We searched for hours, no sign. His flashlight was found the next day, still on, still warm, lying in a dry ditch. Cops said maybe he ran away. We didn't believe that. None of us did. But we didn't stop playing. The next week, there were 5 of us. Tyler was Reaper. We all hesitated before starting, made nervous jokes, agreed to stick closer, not get too deep. But once the game began, adrenaline took over. I hid behind a toppled tree, could barely hear anything but my own heart. Then, footsteps. Not running, not crunching, just slow steps on wet leaves. I whispered, "Tyler?" No answer. Then breathing, this time wet, like lungs filled with water. I ran, found Jess. She was pale, said she saw someone in the trees, tall, thin, wearing Daniel's hoodie, but Daniel was gone. We ended the game early, went home, didn't speak much, but the next Friday we played again. We couldn't help it. Something about ditch or die, it pulled us in, even with the fear, maybe because of it. Next round, Liv went missing. Same pattern, breathing, a flicker of movement, gone. That night I stayed behind after everyone left, went back to the woods alone, needed to know. I sat by the ditch where Liv had hidden, silent. Then I heard it, not breathing this time, a whisper. "Stay too long." I stood, turned. Something moved behind a tree, a shadow without shape. I ran. Didn't stop until I reached the streetlights. I told Tyler and Jess. Marco didn't show up that night. We never saw him again. Now it was just the 3 of us. We made a pact, one more game, to figure it out, to finish it. Jess was Reaper. We each had a flashlight, a walkie, a timer. We agreed, if anything happened, we'd call out. No more silence, no more hiding scared. I picked a spot near the center of the woods, under an old bridge, timer ticking, 5 minutes. Then I moved, then again, and again. Each time, I felt it, the pull, like the woods were watching, breathing, waiting. On the 5th move, my walkie crackled. Jess, breathless. "I see it. It's not. Tyler, run." Then silence. I tried to reply, no signal. Then I heard it. The breathing, but not behind me. Inside me, like my lungs weren't mine, like something else was using them. I screamed, fell, dropped the flashlight. Everything went black. When I woke up, it was morning. Jess was gone. So was Tyler. Just me, covered in mud, timer still running. I never found their bodies, just their walkies, placed neatly at the trailhead, with a note, "You win." I don't go in the woods anymore, but sometimes I hear breathing in the trees outside my window, or footsteps that stop when I listen too hard. I don't know what we woke up in that forest, what old thing we fed with our fear, but I know the rules, and I know what it wants. If you ever play Ditch or Die, remember, move every 5 minutes. Never ignore the breathing, and whatever you do, don't be the last one left. The left-right game. I first heard about the left-right game on an old off-road driving forum. Someone claimed that if you drive out of the city and take turns in the sequence of left-right at every intersection you encounter, eventually you'll turn onto a road that doesn't exist on any map. I'm an investigative journalist. I live for stories like this, and this time I decided I'd be the one to go in. I prepared carefully. Pickup truck, 2 dash cams, food and water for 3 days, a satellite phone, voice recorder, and a small taser. I live in Texas. Everyone's got something. I started in a Houston suburb at 9 a.m. The rules were simple. At the first intersection, turn left. Next one, right. Then left. Then right. Repeat. No U-turns. No long stops. No breaking the pattern. At first it felt dumb. I turned left onto a quiet rural road, then right onto an even narrower lane. The further I drove, the more desolate things became. No more signs, no GPS, just me and the next turn. After about 90 minutes, I came to a strange intersection. No road names, just a blinking yellow light on a post with no wires attached. I turned left. The dash cams were still recording. The voice recorder was running. But the car radio began to distort. A female voice, unintelligible, whispering like she was speaking into the ear of a half-asleep listener. The road began to feel off. The trees were unusually tall. The road surface wasn't asphalt. It was like some kind of stone, but soft. My tires sank slightly but left no tracks. The air pressure shifted. My ears popped. It felt like I was climbing or descending into something deeper. At the next turn, I went right. There was a car on the roadside. Hazards flashing. I pulled over, breaking the rules a little, stepped out to check. Nobody inside, but the engine was warm. On the passenger seat, a DSLR camera still powered on. I looked at the last photo taken. It was of me from behind, stepping out of my truck, just now. I left the camera, got back in the truck, sped up. The deeper I drove, the more wrong everything felt. I turned left. There was a hand-painted sign, turn back. I didn't. I turned right. The sky changed color, not night, but no longer day. I turned left. Someone walked down the center of the road, a man in a white shirt, head twisted fully backward. He had no face. I didn't stop. Around 6 p.m., at least I think it was 6 because my phone no longer displayed time, I came to an intersection, unmarked. No clear left or right. I picked left per the sequence. But as I drove, I realized it was the same road I'd just been on, exactly the same. Even my tire marks were still there. I turned right to break the loop. First time I broke the rule. As I turned, the radio screamed, high-pitched and deafening. The truck shut off. I couldn't restart it. Fog rolled in fast like it had weight. Then I saw headlights, another vehicle driving toward me. Same make and model as mine, same license plate. I froze as it passed, driverless. But in the rearview mirror, I saw myself, sitting in the back seat, eyes wide open, hand on the window. I panicked, hit record on the voice recorder. Date, unknown. I'm Alex. I played the left-right game. I think I broke something. If anyone finds this recording, 3 knocks. On the roof, evenly spaced, I looked up. A tall, thin shadow leaned down, neck stretched so far its head pressed against the windshield. No eyes, no mouth, but I knew it was watching. I passed out, woke up, truck running. Sunrise, dashcam's blank. Phone said 9:03 a.m. I was back where I started, the very first intersection, as if I never left. But my phone had a new file, left-right log 1 MP3. I played it. It was my voice, future me or something else, whispering, "Not everything has a way back." I never played again. But sometimes, while driving, I spot a nameless intersection. My hands tense on the wheel, my heart races, and I always go straight. Never left. Never right. Not anymore. The Spire in the Woods. I first heard about the Spire from Nate, my best friend growing up. We were 14, bored, and trying to impress each other with local ghost stories. While I recycled urban legends, Nate leaned in and said, almost too casually, "You ever heard of the Spire in Granger's Woods?" I hadn't. "Good," he said. "Don't go looking for it." So, of course we did. Granger's Woods was the sort of place our parents told us to stay away from. Not because of monsters, but ticks, hunters, sinkholes. It wasn't forbidden, it was forgotten. No trails, no markers, no signs. But Nate swore there was something deep in there. Something man-made. Something old. We brought flashlights, backpacks, snacks, and zero common sense. It took us 3 hours of cutting through brush, getting scratched to hell, and nearly twisting ankles before we found it. It looked like a bell tower without the church, 20 feet tall, stone, no doors, no windows. Just a smooth column that tapered to a black point at the top. It was too thin to climb, too solid to knock down, and too strange to ignore. We touched it. The stone was cold, even in the July heat, and it vibrated. Just barely. A pulse, like it had a heartbeat. We didn't tell anyone. It was our secret, for a while. A few nights later, Nate called me. "I can't sleep," he said. "Every time I close my eyes, I see it. The spire, Yeah, but not just that. I see a door. What door? There wasn't a door, but now, when I dream about it, there is. I didn't know what to say. We stopped talking about it after that, until Nate disappeared. They found his bike near the woods. No footprints, no signs of struggle, no notes, just gone. Vanished. I didn't go back to Granger's Woods, not for years. Not until I was 22, home from college, and found Nate's notebook in a box of old junk. The last few pages were scrawled in handwriting that barely looked like his. Over and over, he'd written, "The door is open." I couldn't ignore it. I went back. This time I brought a camera, better boots, a GPS tracker. The woods were denser than I remembered, or maybe they had grown around the spire. I reached it just before sunset. It hadn't changed. Still tall, still smooth, still cold. But this time there was a door, a narrow rectangle etched into the stone. Perfectly flush, no handle, no hinges. But I knew it would open, and it did. When I touched it, the stone slid silently aside. Inside, darkness. I stepped in, because of course I did. The interior was bigger than the outside, much bigger. It spiraled down like a lighthouse staircase, carved stone, no lights, but I could see. The walls glowed faintly, pulsed even, like breath or a slow exhale. I descended, one step, then another, then 20, then 50. I lost count, time stretched. Gravity shifted, my ears popped. I heard whispers, not words, just the sound of thoughts not meant for me. And then I reached the bottom. The room was circular, in the center a stone slab, and on it, Nate, or what was left of him. Eyes open, not decayed, just still, as if he'd laid down moments ago, but his eyes were glowing, pale blue, unblinking. He turned his head toward me, mouth moved, no sound, just one word, run. I bolted, up the stairs, past the whispers. The stone vibrated harder now, like the whole structure was waking up. I reached the exit, and it was gone! Solid stone, no door, no seam, no way out. I banged on the wall, screamed, then turned. Nate stood behind me, smiling, but his face was wrong, too smooth, too calm, and his voice didn't match his lips. "Now it's your turn." I woke up in my bed, gasping, soaked in sweat. No signs I'd left. My boots were clean, camera empty, but under my pillow, Nate's notebook, open to a new page, my handwriting. I don't remember writing it. It said, "The Spire remembers." I tried to forget, moved to another city, took a desk job, started a new life, but the dreams followed. The spiral stairs, the glow, the whispers, and always Nate, waiting. 2 months ago, I got a package. No return address. Inside, a stone shard, smooth, cold, vibrating, and a note. The door is open. I think the spire is like a seed. Once you've touched it, it plants something. A memory, a hunger. A doorway that eventually opens, whether you want it to or not. Last night, I woke up outside, standing in my backyard, facing the woods. The spire isn't in Granger's anymore. It's here, and the door is open again. If you ever find it, don't touch it, don't enter, don't even look too long, because it's watching back, and one day it might open for you. The M Show Fan Club. I found the M Show on a late-night Reddit thread titled, "What's the weirdest thing you ever watched and can't find again?" It wasn't a cartoon, a sitcom, or even a web series. It was something else. Some users called it public access horror, others claimed it was a lost ARG, but every comment ended the same way: don't join the fan club. Naturally, I was hooked. There were no official episodes, just scattered clips on sketchy file-sharing sites. They all began the same way: static, a flash of color bars, and a jingle that sounded like it came from a broken toy piano. Then, a figure in a paper mask, a crude smile drawn in red marker. No eyes, just a letter painted on the forehead. The host never spoke. He'd gesture, mime, move in sharp, jerky bursts like a puppet with too many strings. The clips were random. Sometimes he'd walk around a playground at night or stand silently in a hallway lined with broken TVs. In one video, he stood in front of a mirror for 12 minutes, motionless, but the reflection moved. I couldn't look away. There was a mood to it, like I'd accidentally tuned into a show made just for me. The more I watched, the more familiar it felt, until I found the link. It was buried in the comment section of a mirror upload. Simple, www.themshowfanclub.net. I hesitated, then clicked. The website was bare, just a white screen and a single question. Do you want to be seen? Below, 2 buttons. Yo, I clicked yes. The screen flickered. Then, welcome, member Tehoun89, and a form, name, email, address. Something in me said stop, but I filled it out. The next day, I got a letter. Not an email, a real letter. Typed on a typewriter, no stamp, no return address. Just, your membership has been approved. The next episode airs tonight. Tune in. I laughed. But when I got home that night, my smart TV had a new app installed. I hadn't downloaded it. There was no name, just an icon, the red letter. I opened it. The show played automatically. No menu, no options, just the M show. But it wasn't like the others. This one showed my apartment, shot from outside the window, then from inside, then from the hallway, then from behind me. I spun around. Nothing. Just the TV, playing my panic in real time. The figure in the mask appeared on screen, tilted his head, raised one finger. One viewer watching. I yanked the TV's power cord. Screen went dark. But the mask burned into my brain, and the question wouldn't leave me. Do you want to be seen? I tried deleting the app. It came back. Factory reset the TV. Still there. Even changed internet providers. Didn't matter. Every night at 3 a.m. the show played, and each time the host got closer. One night, he stood right next to my bed, not on the screen. In my room, except when I turned on the light, he was gone, but the TV whispered, "He sees you now." I posted about it. No replies. Tried messaging others from the Reddit thread. All accounts deleted, except one. User Clubbed089. Message, "You shouldn't have joined." I replied, begged for answers. They sent a video, no text, no warning. Just a dimly lit room. A man sitting in a chair, mouth sewn shut, eyes wide. Behind him, the masked figure, holding up a sign, "Only way out is to be forgotten." I quit my job, smashed my devices, moved cities, changed my name. But the show followed. Old radios hissed the jingle, random TVs in waiting rooms flickered with the logo. Once I passed a bus stop ad, there he was. Mask, smile, letter M, no caption, just eye contact. I tried disappearing completely. No phone, no credit cards, off-grid until yesterday. I woke up to find a new TV in the cabin, plugged in, already playing. The host was standing in the woods, my woods, facing the camera. Then he pointed, and the camera turned toward me. I'm writing this with a solar battery before I burn the journal because the membership number never changed. I'm still Sharmahar 189, and the question is still in my head. Burning. Begging. Do you want to be seen? If you ever find the link, don't click. If you see the M logo, look away, and whatever you do, don't join the fan club. 1,600 words, huh? Cry. Plot holes. I used to think plot holes were just lazy writing. You know, when a movie contradicts itself, or when a character magically knows something they shouldn't. Stuff you rant about online and forget the next day. Until I started noticing them in real life. And I realized something terrifying. Reality doesn't have a script, but something is still editing it. It started small. I was at a coffee shop I go to every week. Same order, black coffee, bagel with cream cheese. Except this time the barista didn't recognize me. We'd chatted before, she told me about her cat, her screenplay, even gave me a free drink once when my card didn't go through. But that morning, she looked at me like I was a stranger. "First time here?" she asked. I laughed, thinking it was a joke. She didn't laugh back. I brushed it off. Memory's weird, right? Except that night, I went to log into my work email. Password didn't work. Tried the backup. Nothing. Requested a reset, email not recognized. I called IT. They said no one with my name was in the system. I'd been working there 3 years. Next day, I drove to the office. Badge didn't work. Security had no idea who I was. When I got home, I found a stack of unopened mail by the door, all addressed to someone named Kevin M. Doyle. Not me. Never lived with anyone named Kevin. But the mailbox now said, K. Doyle. I searched for my name online. No results. Not even the dumb articles I'd written in college. No social media. No email trace. Even my phone contacts were mostly blank. My parents' numbers, gone. Friends, deleted. Only one contact remained, unknown. I called it. A voice answered. Calm. Robotic. You are not a primary character. What? Your narrative was supporting. Your removal will resolve inconsistencies. I don't understand. The line went dead. That night, I tore through old boxes, photos, journals, anything that proved I existed. Most were blank. Polaroids faded into white. Notebooks full of scribbles. One photo, me and my college roommate, was intact, but my face was smudged, like someone had erased only me. The next morning, my apartment key didn't fit the lock. The doorman didn't recognize me. I went to a hotel. The clerk asked for ID. My license looked fake. He handed it back with a forced smile. Behind his eyes, fear, like he was being watched. I found a Reddit thread, buried deep, titled, "Have you ever been edited?" Most replies were jokes, but one stood out. Plot holes aren't mistakes, they're cleanups. When something doesn't fit, it gets written out. I replied, begged for help, got a DM. From user Script Warden, it said, "Meet me, midnight, 5th and Pine, come alone." I waited at the corner in the rain. At 12:03, a man stepped out of a bus shelter. Trench coat, pale, tired. "You're still in flux," he said. "What's happening to me?" "You notice the edits, you're not supposed to." "I'm not crazy," he shook his head. "You were written out. Someone found an inconsistency in your arc. You got cut." "Who's writing it?" He looked around, then up, like toward the sky, or something above it. Not a who, a system, an editor. He handed me a small black device, looked like a pager. "This will delay deletion, but only for a while. What do I do?" "Stay unpredictable. The editor doesn't like what it can't predict. It sees stability as closure." I didn't sleep. Kept moving. Switched cities. New name. No online footprint. Talked to strangers. Broke routines. It worked for a time. The edit slowed. I saw people glitch. Freeze mid-stride. Repeat words. One man blinked and was suddenly across the street. Reality was thin. Like it was being patched live. Then I slipped. Went back to the coffee shop. Needed something familiar. The barista smiled at me. "Welcome back." She remembered. That scared me more than forgetting because it meant something had changed back. Reality was out of sync. Next day, I checked into a motel, TV on, static, then an image, a document, my name at the top. Beneath it, a summary, my life, my job, my habits, my fears. And in red, inconsistency, deviated from background role, exceeded narrative boundaries. Status, pending removal. I smashed the TV, but the screen didn't break, it bent inward, like plastic. A hand reached through, thin, white, ink-stained. I ran. I found Script Warden again. He looked worse, eyes sunken, voice raspy. "They're rewriting. Can I stop it?" He handed me a notebook. Empty. "Write your own arc. Claim your plot." I tried. Pages filled with ink that vanished seconds later. Words rejected themselves. Every sentence contradicted. The editor didn't accept improvisation. I went back to the forum. Gone. My account banned. Every thread I touched, locked. Final message, termination confirmed, rewrite initiated. Now things move around me. Chairs vanish between blinks, people change names mid-conversation. I'm forgetting my voice, my reflection flickers. Sometimes it talks before I do. Last night I found a mirror. Written across it, "You were not supposed to notice." If you're reading this, it means the edit hasn't reached you yet, but it will. That feeling you get when something's off, when someone calls you by the wrong name, when a building looks different from yesterday, those are patches. Reality adjusting, fixing continuity, deleting extras. And if you ever feel like you've been forgotten, like the world is moving on without you, you might not be paranoid. You might just be the next plot hole. Psychosis. They say isolation does strange things to the brain. At first I thought it was just stress, then paranoia, then something worse. But now I don't know if I'm sick or if I'm the only one who's not. It started with a buzzing sound. Not loud, just persistent, like a faulty fluorescent bulb, only there wasn't one. It came from the walls, or maybe behind them. A high-pitched hum that rose and fell like breathing. I live alone, on the 14th floor of a downtown apartment building. No pets, no roommates, no explanation. I told myself it was tinnitus. Put in earplugs, didn't help. In fact, the sound got clearer, sharper, like it wasn't noise, but signal. Then the lights flickered, only for a second. The clock on the microwave reset to 0. My phone glitched, showing a date that didn't exist, February 30th. It froze like that for hours, then turned itself off. I tried calling my friend Greg, just to talk, to shake the unease. His number was gone, so were most of my contacts. The ones left had strange names. Unit 02 Social, Echo Agent, Query Archive. I powered down the phone, didn't turn it back on. Outside, things felt wrong. I watched people from the window. They moved normally, but synchronized, too smooth, like actors hitting marks. I timed them. Every 47 seconds, someone would stop, check their watch, then keep walking. Not someone, Everyone, every single person. I went to the grocery store, needed to be around real people. As I walked the aisles, I realized the background music was repeating. Same 15 seconds, over and over. No lyrics, just soft static with a faint voice, almost whispering under the melody. I asked the cashier if she noticed. She smiled too widely, then said perfectly monotone, "Thank you for shopping. System refresh in progress." I left my cart, ran home, locked every door, covered the windows, started writing this. The buzzing's louder now. It's layered, not just hums. There are words, they come in flashes right before I blink, right as I'm falling asleep. Things like, he's stabilizing, increased dissociation, loop integrity holding. I haven't slept in 2 days. When I close my eyes, I see code. Scrolling green characters like some hacker movie cliche, but they're in my own handwriting. I tried recording myself sleeping. Last night I watched the footage. I wasn't in bed, but someone else was, lying exactly where I should have been, face covered in static, breathing. I called the building manager, asked about interference, security, anything. He paused too long before answering, then said, "Sir, there's no unit 1408 in this building." That's my apartment number. I walked to the door. It didn't have a number, just a blank metal plate. I think I'm being erased, not killed. Erased. Removed from something bigger, some kind of system. Simulation? Control grid? Insane? I don't know, but the edges are crumbling. The corners of my apartment don't meet at right angles anymore. Light reflects wrong. My shadow bends away from me. I checked online forums, typed in symptoms, found a thread titled psychosis or pattern recognition. First post, when you notice too much, they destabilize your loop. Not broken, just seen. Replies were gone. Account deleted. My bathroom mirror is lying to me. I move slower than my reflection, and last night it smiled, even though I didn't. I knocked on my neighbor's door. Old woman, lived here since I moved in. When she opened the door, she stared at me like I was a stranger, told me she'd never seen me before, then said, "You're not coded right, you flicker." I asked her what she meant. She shut the door. Hard, I heard locks turning, then silence. I don't think I exist here anymore. Not fully, like a file half deleted, still open in the background. I cut myself today, not deep, just enough. The blood was too red, too perfect, didn't drip, just sat on my skin, unnaturally still. The voice in the walls is louder, not words now, commands. They tell me to reset, to go back to routine, to forget. They say the static will stop if I comply. I've started talking to them. Maybe that's what they want. Maybe that's part of it. But they respond. They say things I haven't told anyone. They quote my thoughts. Last night I walked the hallway of the building. Every door was gone, just blank walls. I was the only door left. I'm writing this because I think I'm out of time. The words flicker as I type. Sometimes they vanish, replaced with white squares. The text corrects itself to things I didn't write, like "everything is fine, he is calm," or "subject unaware, containment successful." I scream into the void, but I think the void is looking back. I've stopped trying to call for help. Every voice I reach responds in script, no emotion, just cues. Like I'm not part of their version. I opened my door this morning. It didn't lead to the hallway, it led to a black room, walls covered in screens, all showing me from angles that don't exist. Sleeping, eating, typing, some from inside my skull. A man sat in a chair, faceless, watching. He turned, raised a clipboard, spoke without sound. Psychosis or access breach? I slammed the door, but now my walls are soft, flickering like bad CGI, like a video buffering too slowly. My skin pixelates when I move too fast. My thoughts echo outside my skull. I hear them thinking me. I think this is the final stage. I'm not insane. I'm not paranoid. I'm unrendered. A ghost in a fake world never meant to be self-aware. They called it psychosis, but it's just clarity. The world isn't real, but something inside it is trying to keep me here, to patch me. If you're reading this, maybe you're flickering too. Maybe you've seen the patterns, the repetition, the way things loop, how nothing quite fits. And maybe you've heard the buzz. It's not a noise, it's code. A heartbeat, a warning. Don't trust your senses, don't trust your phone. And never look into the mirror at night, because when you blink, you might not be the one who opens your eyes again. Ty died again last night, every time I wake up feeling cold. I died again last night. It's hard to say it out loud, even harder to believe it. But I did, just like the night before, and the one before that. I die, and then I wake up, always in my bed, always at 3:47 a.m., always feeling cold. The first time it happened, I thought it was a dream. I was standing in my kitchen, pouring myself a glass of water when I heard a knock at the door. 3 knocks. Slow, steady. I opened it without thinking. There was no one there. Just a shadow on the ground, stretching toward me even though the porch light was off. Then I felt a sharp pain in my stomach. Looked down. A knife, but no hand holding it, no body behind it, just the blade floating in air slung into me. I collapsed, fell backward, felt myself bleed out. And then I was in bed, soaked in sweat, cold to the bone. 3:47 a.m. I tried to rationalize it. Sleep paralysis, a nightmare, something I ate. But the pain was real. Dull ache in my stomach all day, a bruise, right where the knife went in. The next night, I set up a camera, pointed it at my bed, slept with the lights on, tried to stay awake. I failed, woke up gasping, freezing. 3:47 a.m., checked the camera. From 2 to 3:46, nothing. Then static, exactly 1 minute. When the feed returned, I was back in bed, motionless. But in the last frame, right before the static cut out, a shape standing by my bed, tall, thin, head tilted at a strange angle, like it was listening. The third night, I barricaded the door, pushed the dresser against it, left every light on, but again, 3:47 a.m., awake, cold, this time with deep scratches on my forearm, like fingernails, 5 parallel lines, no blood, just red, raised welts. I went to a sleep clinic. They did overnight observation, strapped me with wires, watched every heartbeat. I warned them about the time. They laughed, said, "You'll be safe here." At 3:46, nothing happened. At 3:47, all the equipment flatlined. For 6 seconds, no pulse, no EEG, no oxygen. Then everything resumed. I woke up screaming, colder than ever. The nurse quit that night, wouldn't tell me why, just whispered, "Something stood at your bed." But the monitors didn't pick it up. I tried moving, different city, different bed, didn't help. No matter where I sleep, it finds me. Always the same time. Always the same cold. Sometimes I remember the deaths. One night I was pushed off a building. Another, I drowned in a bathtub filled with black water. Once I saw a train barreling toward me, but I couldn't move, just stood on the tracks, staring at the headlights. Each time I die, each time I wake up, like nothing happened, except the cold. I stopped seeing friends, stopped answering calls. How do you explain this? That you die in your sleep, but wake up again and again? That your body remembers even if the world resets? That you're trapped in some kind of loop? I searched for others like me, found a forum, Cold Sleepers Anonymous. Thought it was a joke, but the posts were real. People describing the same 3:47 awakening, same cold, same sense of dying then returning. A user named Thrice Woken messaged me, said he'd figured out part of it. He claimed we weren't dreaming, we were being pulled. Each night at 3:47, something reached through the membrane of our world, touched us, killed us, just enough, then let us go. But every time it left a mark, a little more of itself inside, until one day it wouldn't let go. I asked what it wanted. He sent one final message: to replace, to walk, to wear you. His account was deleted the next day. I've started seeing my own face in reflections. Wrong, off by a split second. The me in the mirror smiles before I do. Moves when I don't. One night, I reached toward it. It didn't mimic me. It grabbed the glass and pressed its forehead to the other side, mouth moving silently. I read the lips, almost ready. I haven't slept in 4 days. I can't risk another death. My body is weakening, mind slipping. But if I fall asleep, it happens again. The cold, the death, the return. I've tried drugs, shock therapy, even hiring someone to keep me awake. Didn't work. They fell asleep in front of me. Woke up at 3:47, crying, said they saw me die, said I smiled when it happened. Last night, I gave in, let myself sleep, drifted off at 3:40, just minutes before the time. I dreamed of a field, open, foggy, and I wasn't alone. Hundreds of people, all standing, silent, all looking upward at something in the sky. A shape vaguely human, but taller, wider, wearing dozens of faces, some of them mine, some of them not. It pointed at me, and everyone turned. They whispered one word in unison: host. I woke up, not in bed, on the floor, naked, covered in frost, clocks frozen at 3:47. Every screen in the apartment glowed with a single sentence: "Shh, one more night." I don't know what happens after the next death. I don't think I'll wake up again. Not as me. I'm writing this down while I still can, because if you ever wake up cold at 3:47 a.m., run. Don't sleep the next night. Don't listen when it calls your name. Don't look into mirrors, because it's not done yet. It's still learning how to be you. And once it gets it right, you won't come back. I keep beautiful things. I keep beautiful things, not in the usual way, not like collectors or curators. I don't put them in glass cases or frame them on walls. I keep them where they stay perfect, where they can't be touched by time, where no one else can ruin them. It started when I was 10. My mother gave me a music box, antique, made of cherry wood with brass hinges and a ballerina that spun to a faint, sad tune. It was beautiful, too beautiful. One day, my cousin visited and dropped it. The ballerina snapped off at the waist. Something in me cracked. I stared at the broken box, and for the first time, I felt something I didn't have words for. Not anger, not sadness. It was loss. A kind of deep, aching panic that something perfect was gone, and it was never coming back. That's when I decided I'd never let anything beautiful break again. At first, it was harmless. Ribbons, feathers, coins with worn engravings. I kept them in a drawer, lined them with velvet, took them out at night just to look. Then came the spider, a garden orb weaver, golden with a web that shimmered in the sun. I found it outside my window, working silently. Every day, I watched it. One afternoon, my brother tried to scare it away, laughed when it scurried to the edge. That night, I took a jar, punched holes in the lid. I kept it. Its web never quite looked the same in glass, but at least now, no one could harm it. Years passed. My drawer grew, so did the need. It wasn't just about beauty anymore, it was about preservation, about ownership. If something was perfect, it didn't belong in the world. The world breaks things. In college, I met a girl named Elsie. She had hair the color of ash wood and eyes like a frozen lake. She wore the same gray coat every day and always read poetry aloud under her breath when she thought no one was listening. I listened. I fell in love, not in the normal way, more like reverence, worship. I followed her one evening, not to hurt her, just to see where she went, to see her in her world. She walked through the park, stopped by a fountain. The golden light caught her face just right. I took a picture, then another and another. I printed them, framed them, lined the wall above my bed. Each image locked in time, her smile, her hair in wind, her hand reaching for her notebook. She started seeing someone, a boy named Milo. I hated the way he touched her. Too careless, too casual. One day I saw him slap her notebook out of her hand, laughing. She laughed too, but something inside her recoiled. I saw it. She deserved better. She deserved to be kept. That night I followed them, waited until they kissed goodnight, and she walked into her building. He turned a corner. Alone. I didn't plan it, not really. But the rock was there, so was the impulse. It only took one hit, maybe two. He dropped like a sack of laundry. No blood, just a little dent. I buried him in the woods, took the ring he wore. It had a tiny red stone, kept it in my drawer. It was beautiful. Elsie cried for weeks. I watched from a distance. I wrote poems and left them in her mailbox. At first, she ignored them. Then she began to smile, even on bad days, like someone still understood her. Eventually, we spoke. I sat next to her at the cafe, mentioned a poem she'd once whispered in class. Her eyes lit up. She invited me to walk with her. For the first time, I didn't take pictures. I didn't need to. When she kissed me, it was slow, uncertain, but beautiful. So beautiful I almost cried. I wanted to preserve it, to freeze it. That night, I invited her over. We drank tea, talked about books. She looked at my wall of photos, paused, stared. Is that me? I nodded. It's all you. She didn't speak. Her face twisted, confused, maybe afraid. You took these without asking? You were perfect, I said. Her voice shook. You don't own me. That word burned. It wasn't about ownership. It was about care, about keeping what's fragile from the world. She tried to leave, said words like creep and report. So I kept her. The room was already prepared, soundproofed, soft pillows, books she liked. I made her tea every morning, read her poems, brushed her hair. She cried a lot at first, then less, then not at all. She became quiet, still, like a doll, like the ballerina in the box. One day I found her curled on the floor, not moving, breathing barely. She looked up and whispered, Are you going to keep me forever? And I said yes, of course. But beautiful things fade. Her skin paled, hair lost its shine, eyes dull. I fed her, I played music, I begged, but she slipped away. The night she died, I didn't cry. I kissed her forehead, wrapped her in soft cloth, placed her in the space beneath the floorboards lined with cedar and petals, a private grave. Now I keep other things. A perfect teacup I stole from a vintage shop, a glass eye I found in a doll museum, a photograph of a boy smiling through a bloody nose, frozen joy and pain, and a ring. Tiny red stone. I walk the streets, I watch. Not like a predator, like a curator. The world doesn't deserve beauty. It mocks it, uses it, breaks it. But I keep beautiful things. Forever. My life was ruined because of an email I should never have received. It started with a single email. No subject line. No sender. Just a timestamp. 3:33 a.m. At first, I thought it was spam, the kind that slips past filters once in a while. But when I opened it, it wasn't an ad or a scam. It was a sentence, plain text, centered on the screen. You weren't supposed to see this. I stared at it for a minute, confused. Then another line appeared, typing itself beneath the first. Do not reply. Do not forward. Do not speak of this. My blood ran cold. I closed the tab, deleted the email, emptied the trash. I didn't sleep well that night. The next day at work, things felt off. My security badge beeped red when I entered the building. Reception said I wasn't in the system. I showed them my ID, my emails, even my recent pay stubs. They called HR. No record of me. Not in payroll, not in personnel, not even as a contractor. My desk? Empty. A new guy sitting there said he'd been in that role for 3 weeks. I had worked there 5 years. I left, stunned. Tried calling my manager. Number didn't exist. Tried calling coworkers, numbers disconnected. I went home and checked my work laptop. Locked. Credentials invalid. I sat there for hours, refreshing my inbox. Nothing. That night at 3:33 a.m., a second email arrived. Same blank sender, same ominous aura. This one said, "You have been seen. It begins now." I didn't sleep. Didn't even blink. Just watched the screen, waiting. In the morning, I went to the DMV to check my license. They said it had expired 10 years ago. Tried using my debit card, declined. Bank account, frozen. Online presence, scrubbed. No social media, no LinkedIn. Even my name when Googled yielded 0 results, like I never existed. I contacted my parents. My mom picked up. I was sobbing before I could speak, but her voice was cold. Who is this? It's me, I said. It's Ryan. She paused, then hung up. I drove straight to their house, same address I grew up in, same porch swing. But when I knocked, a man I'd never seen opened the door, said no one named Ryan had ever lived there. I lost everything in 2 days. Job, identity, family. I couldn't file a police report, didn't have ID, didn't have proof, didn't even have a name. The third email came that night, 3:33 a.m. This time it had a subject, reset required. The message body said, all anomalies must be purged. You are anomaly 0018A, prepare. I screamed. Threw the laptop across the room. It didn't break, just sat there, buzzing. Then the screen turned black and a video started playing. It was footage of me, but not from today, from years ago. Clips of me at work, at school, at home, private moments, stuff I never recorded. Then the footage began to warp. I watched myself glitch, my face blur, scenes rewinding and looping wrong. Then a final clip. Me reading the first email, and behind me something standing in the doorway. Tall, pale, no face, just watching. I turned off the power, pulled the battery. Still, the laptop stayed on. Another line of text appeared. You are still online. I ran, took the car, drove 3 towns over, found a cheap motel, paid in cash, no devices. But that night, under the door, a printed page from a dot matrix printer by the look of it. On it, we are always connected. I tried to find help, found a subreddit about unexplained data breaches, posted anonymously, detailed everything, got one reply. From user rootgate001, you open the gateway, the protocol is cleaning the error. I messaged them, begged for answers, they told me to meet them. Neutral ground, public. We met in a library, he was already seated, thin, pale, trembling. He said there was a system, an old one, a layer beneath the internet. Not AI, not surveillance. Something older, built by mistake or maybe discovered. Something that sees anomalies. Patterns that break the world's logic. People who shouldn't be where they are. People who see too much. He said I was flagged, that the first email wasn't meant for me, but opening it put me in the system's path. "The protocol doesn't kill you," he whispered. "It unthreads you." "Unthreads?" "Removes your thread from the pattern." I asked how to stop it. He shook his head. "Only way is to close the loop, finish the story." "How?" He looked at me with hollow eyes. "You don't." He left. I never saw him again. That night I got the fourth email. Just one word: goodbye. Since then I've been fading. My voice cracks in ways that feel digital. Mirrors don't always show me. Sometimes I see myself walking past when I'm standing still. People bump into me and don't apologize because they don't feel it. I exist like static. A ghost in plain sight. I don't think I'll last much longer. But I'm writing this for you, because maybe you got an email like mine. Maybe you're next. So listen closely. If you ever receive a message at 3:33 a.m. with no sender, no subject, just a whisper of text, don't open it, because the protocol doesn't forget. And once you're seen, you were never meant to be. My dead girlfriend keeps messaging me on Facebook. Emily died on August 2nd, 2 years ago. A car crash. She was texting me when it happened. I still have the message. "Almost home. Missed you today." The irony eats me alive. For months after, I visited her page every day, stared at photos, watched our old videos, read through her posts, even the ones I'd read dozens of times before. Friends left messages on her wall, condolences, memories, poems, but slowly, as people moved on, her timeline grew quiet until the messages started. The first one came on January 21st, 5 months after she died. A simple "hey" from her account. I thought it was a glitch. Maybe her mom had accessed her profile. They shared passwords sometimes. I replied, "Hi, who is this?" No response. The second message came 2 days later. "Remember that night at the lake?" That stopped me cold. Only Emily and I knew what happened that night. We were 17, snuck out, drove to Lake Wren, made a fire, talked until sunrise. She cried in my arms about her dad. "We never told anyone." I replied again. "Is this a joke? Who are you?" The typing bubble appeared, then vanished. No message. I contacted her mom, asked as gently as I could if she had logged into Emily's account. She looked confused. No, I couldn't even if I wanted to. I deleted her passwords. I didn't want to see her online again. She started crying. I felt like a monster. But the messages kept coming. Random, sparse, always something only Emily could have said. "You still keep my hoodie? Don't eat the gas station sushi. Your socks never match." And each time I responded, begged for answers, and got none. Then the photos started changing. Old albums I knew by heart now had new pictures. Grainy, dark, taken from outside windows. One showed me sleeping, another showed my front door. One was taken from the backseat of my car. I called Facebook support, explained everything. They promised to look into it. 3 days later, her account was memorialized. Name grayed out, no more posts, no more messages. Until a week later, a new message. From a new account. The profile picture was black. The name, Emily.2. Message, "You tried to shut me up." I blocked it. A minute later, Emily.3, then Emmy.4. They kept coming. New accounts, each one darker, more hostile. One sent a photo of Emily's grave, freshly disturbed dirt. Another sent a recording. A voice, faint, warped, whispering, "Let me in." I went to the police. They chalked it up to harassment, told me to shut down my socials. I did. Deleted every account, smashed my phone, bought a flip phone. That night, my laptop turned on by itself. Message on the screen, "Don't need Facebook to find you." Then the screen flickered, and a video played. My bedroom, from the closet, camera shaking, zooming in on me, asleep. Then breathing. Not mine, close, wet, behind the camera. I moved out the next day, new apartment, no forwarding address, no internet, but it followed. I came home from work to find a photo taped to my door, Emily, but not as I remembered. Pale, lips blue, head tilted, eyes open but wrong. Too wide, too empty. Caption scrawled in Sharpie, "Still yours." I visited her grave, hoping, I don't know, to confront something, to apologize, to scream. But when I got there, the headstone was shattered, dug up, empty, just an open hole. And a note, "You brought me back." I don't know what I did. Maybe grief opened something, maybe love left a door ajar, but I feel her now, in mirrors, in static, in shadows behind closed doors. Last night, my laptop turned on again. One final message, no sender, just text. You read every word, you let me in, now you'll never be alone again. And I'm not. She's here, right behind me. Every time I type, watching, loving, hungry. If you get a message from someone you lost, don't reply. Don't open the photos. Don't listen to the recordings, because once you answer, they know you're listening, and they'll never stop talking. I pretended to be a missing girl so I could rob her family. It started as a con, a clean one, or so I thought. The kind you pull once, take the money, disappear. But the problem with pretending to be someone else? Sometimes the mask starts to stick. Her name was Grace Halberd, missing since 2008. She was 9 at the time, vanished during a camping trip in Colorado. No trace, no leads, no body. But her family, especially her mother, never stopped hoping. 12 years later, I found the Reddit thread. Have you seen this girl? With a digitally aged photo. Something about the face stopped me, not because it looked familiar, but because it looked like I could be her. I was 21, broke and invisible. No family, no friends, no record. Perfect for what I had in mind. I did my homework, studied everything. The shape of Grace's ears, the tiny scar above her lip, her laugh, recorded on an old home video. I starved myself for weeks, changed my posture, practiced her handwriting, found a therapist willing to sign off on recovered memories for the right price. And when I showed up at a local police station in Denver with sunken eyes and trembling lips, claiming to be Grace Halberd, they believed me. The family cried when they saw me. Her mother collapsed. Her father just kept whispering, "My baby, my baby." They took me home to their mansion in the hills, marble floors, antique furniture, a wine cellar bigger than my last apartment. It was supposed to be a week, maybe 2, just long enough to find the safe, take the cash and valuables, and vanish. But something was wrong from the start. First night, I heard someone whispering outside my room, not the parents, a low, rasping voice. I cracked the door, no one there, just the hall, still. Second night, I woke to find toys scattered across my floor. Old ones, stuffed rabbit, broken spinning top, doll with one eye. I hadn't brought them in. The family said they were Grace's childhood toys, things they hadn't touched in years. "I guess you found your old box," her mom said with a nervous laugh. I nodded, smiled, lied. But the next morning, the rabbit was wet, soaked through, smelled like pond water. I asked where they'd gone camping. Her father stiffened. "Why?" I shrugged. "Just fragments coming back. It's best not to push." By the 5th night, I started seeing her. In reflections, in the corners, in the way the doll's eyes always seemed to follow me. At first, I thought I was losing it. Guilt, maybe, paranoia. But then things escalated. I found a letter in my drawer. Crumpled. Childlike handwriting. "You're not me." I confronted the family. They just smiled, sad smiles. "We're all healing," her mom said. "You're safe now." Safe. It didn't feel safe. Especially not when I found muddy footprints leading from the cellar to my bed. Tiny footprints, not mine. I decided to leave. That night, I snuck into the office, opened drawers, found bank info, safe combinations, security codes. But as I turned to leave, the family was waiting. All of them, standing in the dark, smiling. Her mother stepped forward. "You were very convincing." "I don't know what." Her father cut me off. "But not perfect. Grace hated spinach. You ate the whole plate." The daughter, the real one, had been left-handed. I was right. Little details. They'd been watching, waiting. "I'll go," I said. "I won't tell anyone." Her mother touched my face. "You're already part of the family." Then I blacked out. I woke up in the basement. Dirt floor, no windows, the doll in the corner, her head turned this time, watching. They kept me there for days, fed me cold soup, read me bedtime stories. Her mother brushed my hair, saying, "You're such a good girl." And the worst part, the longer I stayed, the more I forgot who I was. I remembered a pond, a swing, a hand grabbing mine in the dark. I remembered being Grace, or someone close enough. One night, they unlocked the door, let me out. I was weak, thin, but grateful. They dressed me in a yellow sundress, took a new photo, posted it online. After years of healing, Grace is finally ready to tell her story. Thousands of likes, interviews followed, a book deal, TV appearances. But I knew better than to run, because sometimes I still hear her, the real Grace, whispering in my ear when the cameras stop rolling. "This life isn't yours." And she's right, it isn't. But it is now. Because I may have pretended to be a missing girl to rob her family, but they stole something far worse from me. My name, my past, myself. And every night, when I sleep in her bed, wear her clothes, smile her smile, dent her, I wonder if one day she'll come back to collect what's hers. I'm going to be the first person to surgically remove their own brain. I am not insane. That's the first thing you need to understand. People hear about my project and assume madness. But this isn't about delusion or self-harm. It's about freedom, about evolution, about becoming more than human. I'm Dr. Alan Harrow, former neurosurgeon, former cognitive researcher, and current subject of the most important experiment in medical history. I am going to be the first person to surgically remove their own brain and live. It began 3 years ago during a study on phantom pain in post-limb loss patients. One subject, a man missing both legs, reported feeling his feet move in dreams. Not just pain, agency, as if some part of him refused to accept the loss. That's when it hit me. The body doesn't need the brain the way we think it does. It remembers, it repeats, it learns to simulate. I began studying deep motor memory, procedural loops, split brain patients, cases where people performed complex actions while their conscious brain was essentially off. One woman baked a cake in her sleep while undergoing a temporal lobe seizure. Another man drove 11 miles before realizing he'd blacked out. These weren't flukes, they were patterns. Proof that the self, as we understand it, is a lie. I devised a model, layered cognition. If I could isolate mechanical function from conscious interference, I could achieve something revolutionary. A body free from the burden of thought, a pure state, action without anxiety, purpose without pain. Of course, no institution would fund it. I lost tenure, was labeled unstable, my license revoked, so I moved underground, literally. A lab built beneath an old storage facility. Here I rebuilt everything from scratch, custom surgical equipment, 3D printed neural bypasses, robotic extensions controlled by subdermal implants. The hardest part was simulating brain function before removal, to trick the body into thinking everything was normal. I began with rats, then chimps, then myself. Implants in the cerebellum, basal ganglia, spinal cord. Weeks of tests, twitches became movements. Movements became control. I trained myself to walk, eat, even speak without thinking, just doing. The mirror was my enemy. At first, watching myself move like a puppet, smile without feeling, blink without meaning. But then it became liberating. No guilt, no hesitation, just response. I began phase 2, mapping my own brain, not with crude MRIs, but real-time neural threading, one electrode at a time, tracking each function, logging the location, assigning the replacement route. It took a year, but I knew every fold of my mind. Tonight I begin the final phase, full extraction, piece by piece, not all at once, that would be suicide. I will remove sections, test for loss, correct, adapt, repeat until the last sliver of cortex is gone, and then I will be free. Day 1. Remove Broca's area. Speech slightly delayed, but muscle memory compensates. Vocal cords mimic rhythm. Listeners report robotic but understandable tone. Day 3. Extracted primary auditory cortex. External sounds muted. Internal voice still functions. Body now responds more to vibration than sound. Day 5. Visual cortex mapped, partially removed. Peripheral sight intact. Central vision digitized via optic relay. Eyes no longer see beauty. Just shape. Function. That's enough. Day 9. Emotional centers offline. Amygdala, hippocampus. No fear. No nostalgia. Just clarity. Memories cataloged, stored externally. Reviewed only when needed. It feels clean. Day 13. Frontal lobe partially removed. The hardest part, executive function gone. But predictive algorithms remain. Movements are now smoother. No doubt. No pause. I do what must be done. Day 17. I watched a recording of myself before the procedure. Smiling, nervous, weak. He feared death. I don't. Day 20. I am down to the final 12% of brain tissue, mostly connective white matter. No gray. The core is gone. What remains is residue, heat, noise. It must be cleaned. But something is wrong. Set. Day 21. I found a recording on the lab server, video of me yesterday, but I don't remember making it. In it, I stare into the camera, eyes wide, voice shaking. Something's still inside, I whisper. It's using me, moving me when I'm not thinking. Then I start crying, screaming. Then I laugh. Not with joy, with emptiness. I watched it 5 times, felt nothing, deleted it. Day 23. Movement anomalies increasing, tremors during rest. Facial expressions I don't choose, smile when I'm alone, frown when no one is speaking. Day 24. Found writing in my notebook I don't recall making. Please stop, it hurts. The penmanship is mine, but uneven, sloppy, as if made by someone unfamiliar with fingers. Day 25. Final tissue ready for extraction. I hesitated. Not because of fear, I don't feel fear. I hesitated because something held my hand, not physically, internally. A resistance, a voice, but not in words. A presence. Alien, watching through me, using me. I've created a vessel, but something else stepped in. Day 26, external cameras show me walking the lab at night. Eyes open, hands twitching, mouth mumbling, no awareness, just movement. The old body is gone, but the machine remains, and the machine must run. Day 27, I am no longer writing this. These logs are being dictated, but not by me. By the thing that lives where my brain used to be. It speaks through muscle, types through twitch, feels nothing, and it smiles. I thought I would be the first to remove my brain and survive, but all I did was build a shell, and something else moved in. If you're reading this, don't follow. Don't try. Some thoughts are meant to be locked away. Some cages hold monsters you can't see. And when you tear out your mind to find peace, something will always come to fill the silence. He is coming for me. It started with the doorbell. 3 short rings. Precise. It was 2:13 a.m. I live alone. No one ever visits at night. I didn't answer. Watched from the peephole instead. No one there. But the motion light flickered on. The porch was empty. Just rain and a dark shape at the edge of the yard, standing still. The next morning, there was a note in my mailbox. Typed, no name, just 5 words. He is coming for you. I assumed it was a prank, tossed it, didn't think about it. Until that night when the doorbell rang again. Same time, same pattern. 3 short rings. This time I checked the security camera. The feed was black, not off, just pure, absolute darkness, like something blocked the lens. I didn't sleep. Next morning I found a second note taped to the inside of my bedroom window. From the inside. I had locked every door. Every window. Still it was there. He is closer now. I changed the locks, bought new cameras, called the police. They came, took a report, suggested I might be stressed. One officer gave me a look I didn't like. Pity, fear, or maybe recognition. That night, 2:13 a.m., the doorbell rang. The camera blinked, then showed me. Standing outside, but I was inside, watching. The figure on the screen turned and looked straight at the lens, at me. Then it smiled. I ripped the system out. Wires, battery, everything. Smashed the doorbell with a hammer. Sat in the dark with a baseball bat. Still at exactly 2:13 a.m., I heard 3 knocks from inside the walls. I moved, rented a cabin 3 hours away, no address listed, paid in cash, no Wi-Fi, no phone. First night was silent. Second night too. Third night, 2:13 a.m., I heard footsteps on the roof. Heavy, deliberate, walking from one end to the other. Next morning, a note nailed to a tree outside. You can't run. He is always one step behind. I remembered something then. Something from years ago. A story my grandfather used to tell about the follower. A shadow thing. Once you see it, once you know it, it knows you. Follows you in dreams at first, then sound, then signs, then copies. I laughed it off as a kid. Now it didn't seem so funny. I started sleeping in the bathtub with the curtain drawn. Woke up with scratches on my arms, like fingernails, except I bite mine short, and I live alone. I boarded the windows, slept in shifts, didn't matter. 2:13 a.m. every night, something happened. Footsteps, lights flickering, notes. He has your face now. Don't trust the mirrors. You will forget which one is real. I stopped looking in mirrors. They lingered too long, smiled too wide. One night, the reflection moved before I did. I punched the glass. It laughed. No sound. Just grin. I called a priest. He left halfway through the blessing. Said the air was wrong. Said something watched him blink. Now even the clocks betray me. Everyone stopped at 2:13 a.m. permanently. Can't fix them. Can't throw them away. They just come back. I started writing everything down. This journal. These words. Because some nights I forget who I am, where I am, what's happening. I wake up standing or outside or holding things I didn't own. A blade, a photo, a key to a door I've never seen. And every time I look up, there's a shape in the distance. Closer each night, same outline, same posture, same face, mine. I tried ending it. Pills, razor, a bridge, didn't work, woke up on the floor, untouched, with a note pinned to my shirt. Not yet. He wants me to watch, to know, to break. He doesn't want my death. He wants my place. And I think he's almost ready, because last night I saw a news story. Man arrested for breaking into his own home. Claimed the man inside was an imposter. Said, "That's not me. That's him." They showed a picture. The man looked like me. Identical. But something was wrong with the eyes. Too empty, too exact, like they were worn. I don't know how long I have left. If you're reading this, check your cameras, check your mirrors, check the time. If it's 2:13 a.m., he is coming for you too. The man that ate newborns. I grew up in a town no one remembers. Just a gray smudge on an old map. One highway in, one blinking light, a place where winters lasted longer than they should, and people whispered more than they spoke. But everyone knew the story of Mr. Silas, the man that ate newborns. Of course, no one ever said it outright. Not the teachers, not the priests, not even the old drunks at Red's Tavern. They just lowered their voices when they said his name. Mr. Silas used to walk these woods. Don't go past the mill road after dark. That's where Mr. Silas waits. Keep the baby quiet. He listens for crying. To a child, it was just another ghost story. But when you've lived here long enough, you start noticing patterns, especially the missing posters. The first one I remember was from when I was 9. A baby boy, 2 months old. Name, Caleb. Parents said they put him down in his crib at 10 p.m. At 2 a.m., the crib was empty. No broken windows, no forced entry, just gone. Police blamed coyotes, but the mother kept repeating something else. I heard footsteps in the attic, heavy. She was taken to a hospital a week later, never came back. Then came Lila Dorsey, 6 weeks old, then Noah Rivers, 3 months, then twins, both gone in one night. Every few years, it happened again. Never in the same house, never with witnesses, always infants, and always in the fall. My mother never let me near the woods after dusk. She'd salt the windowsills, leave iron nails under the cradle. I thought she was superstitious, but one night when I was 16, I came home late from work and saw her sitting in the nursery, my little sister asleep in the crib. And my mother, she had a shotgun across her lap and tears in her eyes. She didn't say a word, just watched the window, like something might knock. I didn't ask questions after that, not until years later. After college, I returned home for a while. My sister, now 7, had no memory of what happened back then, but the old stories never left. If anything, they'd grown worse. People had stopped having kids. New families didn't move in. The town felt hollow, like something had drained the marrow out of it. One night at the tavern, half drunk and nostalgic, I asked old Mr. Harper about Silas. He didn't smile, didn't even blink. "You want to know the story?" he said. I nodded. He took a long pull from his glass and leaned close. "Back before the town had a name," he began, "it was a place of deals. The settlers were starving. Winter hit too early. Crops dead. Animals gone. Children crying from hunger. They say one man, Silas Moore, went into the woods and offered something in return for survival. No one knows what he promised. But the next morning, the snow melted. Animals came back. The sun shone. And Silas? He was different. People say he stopped aging, stopped sleeping. But the worst thing, he stopped eating normal food. He'd show up at night, knocking on doors, always polite, always smiling, and every few years a baby would go missing, like a tithe, a price for the peace." I laughed, then stopped, because Mr. Harper didn't. I would have forgotten the whole thing, chalked it up to too much whiskey, if not for what happened to my neighbor last year. She was young, newly married, expecting her first child. I helped her carry groceries once. Kind woman. Bright eyes. She went into labor early, 6 weeks premature, but healthy. They named him Jonah. 3 nights after they came home, I saw the flashing lights. Police, ambulance, and her screaming on the porch. Jonah was gone. No signs of break-in. No blood, no struggle, just an open window and a cold draft. The story made local news, but not national. They never do. No one ever looks too closely at this town. That's when I broke into the old records. The town archive was dusty, neglected, but the records were there. Every 10 years, sometimes 12, always a child under 6 months, disappeared between September and November. No arrests, no explanations, just silence. I thought it was a curse, a folk tale, until I found the photograph. Dated 1894, a town picnic, dozens of families, kids in suspenders, women in bonnets, and in the back, almost out of frame, a tall man. Suit too clean, eyes too bright, face pale and ageless, his hands resting on a child's shoulders. The child looked terrified. I found the same man again in a photo from 1921, and again in 1953, and in a news report from 1987. He never changed. Same clothes, same expression, same pale, watching eyes. I tried to show people. They told me I was seeing things. Pattern matching, delusional. Even my own sister laughed. Until 2 weeks ago. She called me crying. Said her son, just born, was acting strange. Would scream every night at 2:13 a.m. Exactly. Not before, not after. And once she swore she saw someone outside, standing at the edge of the yard, watching. I moved in the next day, salted the windows, fed iron nails under the crib, shotgun by the door. Last night I heard the knock. 3 times. Soft, polite, not at the front door. At the nursery window. I didn't look, didn't speak, just waited. Then I heard the voice, low, smooth, velvet and venom. You have something of mine. I gripped the shotgun, walked slowly, pulled the curtain aside. Nothing, just darkness. And in the condensation on the glass, words written by a finger. Winter is owed. I don't know how to stop him. I don't know what he is. But I know he's real. And he's still hungry. Tonight I'll be waiting again. If I survive, I'll write more. If not, remember this. He comes in autumn. He listens for crying, and he never leaves empty-handed.